Hey guys, never stop touching it today, and we are going to be looking at Lineage of Evil and composing a team that is probably the best for them at the moment, which is a struggle. This team needs a lot of help. Like, if you think about it, this team has not got anything over the past year. Like, they got this Final Form Freezer who's pretty ass if you ask me, just not good whatsoever. So yeah, I wouldn't even consider him as a great unit that was released. Like, when was the last sparking that was released? Was it this freezer? I'm not too sure. They need a lot of help, but we're gonna be looking at the team, and to start off with, we're gonna say this Final Form freezer, like, he is actually really good nowadays. Most people have him starred up. Like, I have him 14 stars for instance, and he's got some really darn good stats. His ability to gain ki over time, his ability to get Dragon Balls with his green card makes it so that he is a very annoying unit. His ultimate is really good where it gives him his health back if it hits, and overall he's just really good to this day, even though he's like over a year old. So yeah, he's definitely the red unit I'd use. If you look at the other options, they're not really great. You could use Zenkai Metal Cooler, but I'm not too much of a fan of this dude. This Final Form Freezer that transforms into Golden Freezer is not too good nowadays. If he got Zenkai, he might be good, but yeah, other than that, there's not really that many options for when there's only 3. So I'd definitely say that Final Form Freezer. For yellow, it's obvious. If you have this yellow Freezer, use him. His endurance, nullification, his overall just power, the card draw speed, the restoration of vanishing gold with his main ability. Everything about this dude is just absolutely ridiculous. He could do a ton of damage. He could just cover chains, do a lot of damage with his blue. Like, his blue is one of the most hardest hitting in the game. Set up so that he's got a lot of special move equipment that just boosts it. He's just tearing apart the whole team. So yeah, this dude is phenomenal. Definitely the yellow unit you want. Even what I tend to do is I get this Zenkai Final Form Freezer, I add him on the bench and make it so that he is just doing a ton more damage, just overall being an absolute beast. Probably the best LOE unit, I'd say. I'd say he's even better than this Zenkai First Form Freezer, who for purple units is definitely the unit you want to get, especially if you have him Zenkai. If you don't have him Zenkai, there's a bit of a issue because there are not that many purple choices. Like, are you going to use this transforming caller? Are you going to use chilled? I don't think so. If this cooler got Zenkai, he'd be ridiculous. I can imagine him just being the tank that the team needed. But still, if you have this dude Zenkai, even not Zenkai is still probably the best choice. Like, his addition of that blue card, once his Zenkai, he does pretty darn well in terms of defending, in terms of just doing damage as well. Like, these stats are pretty darn ridiculous as well. So yeah, and he gets like all this going on right here. Is really good for the team. He's just a really good unit to use, especially on this LOE team, considering how in desperate need they are for like just power in general. Okay, for green units, it's this First Form Freezer, the one you got for free, or Metal Cooler. These two are the best out of both of them. Honestly, if you got this dude 3 to 14 stars, use him. He is phenomenal. Like, if you take a look at his stats, pretty like spread out here, pretty even all around. So I'd say he's pretty darn good. Like, his ability to give 40% more, where is it? He gives 40% more RP during this season as well. So that's pretty insane. And he is actually a really good unit. So I'd say definitely use him. But if you have Metal Cooler 14 stars as well, he is still good to this day. He hits pretty hard. His green card is really good. I'm pretty sure it locks in the opponent for, yeah, it inflicts all enemies with 2 sub counts, so you can combo that into your enemy and just make it so that they're not having a fun time. And overall, he does hit pretty hard, especially against Super Saiyans, which you do see a lot nowadays, especially a certain Super Saiyan. So he is a great counter to Ultra Gogeta, to be honest. So yeah, either of those for your green unit and you're pretty much set. Now blue, it's a pretty tough choice. I normally choose Final Form Caller because of his ability when he's Zenkai to even when he's not Zenkai, he has this ability, but it's even better when he's Zenkai, where he gives this critical rate. That just makes it so that if you get crits off, you're doing a ton of damage. If not, I use this First Form Freezer. He is a really good unit. very powerful blast type, just does a ton of damage, especially if you got a Zenkai. To be honest, a lot of people should have him 14 stars, and if you haven't Zenkai, then work on Zenkai him. He is free to Zenkai in the bed section, so make sure to do that. But it's out of these two, I'd mainly use him, so I'd recommend using him. But some people don't have him 7 stars, which is kind of surprising how old he is, but that's how it is. So out of these two, it's definitely the blue unit you want. Other than that, like, you could use the first form Frieza, who's alright, this final form Frieza as well, but still not very good options if you ask me. And yeah, that's pretty much it for the initial 5 I'd use. Now, if we're talking about, like, if you want to fill the final slot, I normally tend to put in Chilled, as he has a pretty darn ridiculous Z ability if you take a look. So I've got him 14 stars, so he gives health and health restoration, which is pretty darn good for the LOE team just in general. Like, they do a lot more when they have a lot of health. Like, if you take a look at this Frieza at 14 stars, Zenkai 7 has 2.76 million health, so add 20% to that, that's over 3 million health. That's pretty darn crazy if you ask me. So yeah, that's probably the 6 I'd finalize this. So we got this red Frieza, final form Frieza, we got this Legend Limited Frieza, this Zenkai Legend Limited Frieza. I'd definitely say this guy over Metal Cooler at the moment, and then I'd say Cooler. These are the initial 5, and then probably Chilled if you want to have it all LOE based. But if you're looking for a unit that will be good as a leader unit, honestly, I'd probably try and add a red or green type unit. So if you take a look at the characters, red is not too good at the moment. Honestly, Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta isn't a bad shout for this team. Like, I could see him doing fantastically with this team, just being the green unit they need. Like, don't get me wrong, this dude is good, but just having that additional power, especially with Super Gogeta running about, that would be really good. And honestly, I wouldn't really consider bringing multiple reds in this season. Not even... You couldn't even bring another yellow unit. Like, I would say this Evolution Vegeta would be great. This Gogeta, Super Saiyan Gohan, like any powerful yellow unit. Especially, to be honest, Super Saiyan 4 Goku, now that he's got his Platinum equip that makes him pretty darn good, is powerful in this meta. So I definitely use that. So I'd suggest either having a powerful green unit or a powerful yellow unit as your leader, and just make it so that they can tear into the blue units out there or the purple units, because those are the main units you see in the meta at the moment. It's either a blue purple, or a mono purple team. It's just ridiculous. So yeah, that's it. That's the final team I'd use as a LOE main, I guess, because I do love using LOE. I remember I had a pretty good LOE team when they were pretty popular, and they were very strong. Like, they were countering Saiyans left, right, and center, and that's what we need. We need this year to be LOE's year, because the amount of Saiyans are just ridiculously powered at the moment and are just tearing through the map. They will just absolutely shut down. Like, imagine an LF Cooler. How cool would that be? Like, no pun intended, but yeah, that'd just be ridiculous. He just tears apart Saiyans, Super Saiyans. Like, he does 80% more damage to them. Imagine. He'd just be absolutely ridiculous. But yeah, that's my guide for a pretty darn good LOE team. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, hit that like button. If you want to see more in the future, subscribe. See you on the next one. Goodbye.